What's going on, guys? Welcome to the very first episode of the Capture Craft podcast. I'm your host, Israel Pitchford. A lot of people know me by Izzy or my Instagram handle, which is Swoletographer. And we have Jared Harris here. I'll let him introduce himself as well.
Jared Harris, Instagram jharris.mbs. Y'all may know me, y'all may not. Hopefully y'all get to know me in this
Most definitely.
podcast, you know what I'm saying?
Most definitely. So we created this podcast with the hopes of inspiring and bringing up and coming creatives, and then also with the goal to bring other creatives, other entrepreneurs, and other people who are just doing dope things in their life to this podcast and have a platform and somewhere to share that. So I kind of came up with the idea that I wanted to start a podcast probably around 6 months ago, and never really brought it to life, never really thought that I had the time or the resources to get a space, get the lights, get the cameras, everything set up to the point where it'd be ready to roll. And then also doing it on my own as a solo podcast would be really hard. I would rely on other guests to always come in and always bring their input, and then also rely on their schedule to line up with mine to kind of allow this to keep flowing. So then, weirdly enough, I met Jared. Well, I had been known Jared, but we met at a running club event, and we kind of bounced the idea of how he was starting a podcast, or he had a podcast going already and was trying to get back into it. And then, like he said, he also does creative work, so it kind of flowed and worked perfectly in being able to co-host, and now both of us being able to run Capture Craft. So I'll let you kind of build out that if you want to, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, funny story, how we really met was I was following him on Instagram already. I forgot who told me about your page, right? Yeah. But you put on your story, you need somebody for BTS for a shoot. And I was like, you know what? I had called my boy. I was like, hey man, I seen this content, dope content. He's growing as a creator. I love what he's doing, and I'm trying to do the same thing. So, you got to put yourself around like-minded people.
Most definitely.
So I reached out and I was like, look, I had to go to work that day for real. Actually, but for the camera, don't show this to nobody that I work with. But we did that BTS, man. We've been cool ever since.
Yeah.
But like I said, we ran into each other at the run club, and we was like, look, this is something that we need to bring to light.
Most definitely.
Because both of us was hesitating on starting the podcast and figuring out the ideas for it. But the biggest thing is you can't get anything done if you don't even start it.
Correct.
So
and I think sometimes that's what you need, is someone else who's like ready to go and ready to do the same thing that you are. And then, like it just happened, bro, what, 2 Wednesdays ago?
Exactly.
So like a week and a half ago, we talked about it in person, and then from there we just been bouncing ideas, and now we are here recording the first one. So I kind of talked about our main goal for this podcast is to like reach other creatives, reach other people who are coming up in the videographer, photographer, editor industry, because right now it's booming. I'm a product of that, in switching my whole life plan, if you will, to now becoming a successful videographer and photographer. And not saying that I'm already where I want to be, but I feel like I've made a lot of ground in the year and a half that I've done this. And then Jared, who is somebody who's works a full-time job, does the normal life, but is also pursuing this career and passion of creating content and recording content.
Sure. And it's been, it's a tough thing to kind of balance. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Especially when you got to be in the office, but it's kind of like finding those clients, that can adjust, and sometimes you have to adjust. If you really want to do this, you got to, adjust to whatever it is.
Put the effort for it.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. So I think we'll be able to bring a dope, super unique perspective, because we do have two completely different lives, but they're both meshed in the middle through content, of course. So with that being said, that's the full introduction. It won't be that long every single week, I promise you. So we're gonna get into the topic of today. And the topic that we decided to speak about is how creatives now have to be much more than a videographer, photographer, and editor. And that a lot that we know and the things that we do on the day-to-day basis lead up to so much more than just us coming to a shoot with a camera and a light and recording something or filming something or shooting something. What is your take on like how our careers are expected to be more than what they were initially started as? You know what I'm saying?
I believe, because now like we've evolved, right? a lot of people, what you hear is like, I can just do this with my iPhone.
Right.
So in the iPhone cameras, Android, whatever phone you have, the cameras are getting better and better.
For real.
So to the naked eye, some people really say they can't tell the difference, right? So why is it that if you can do it with your iPhone, would you need us?
Right.
So, it's just, they think that all we do is kind of come in, press record, get these, nice shots, and
high quality,
put them together, because and they know the difference in quality, of course.
For sure.
But I think the biggest thing right now is that gap between why would you need a videographer
for real,
if I have my own, if I have my own form of like content that I can record with the phone, right?
Yep.
So, and that boils down to value.
Yep.
And that's what's gonna set you apart as a videographer. How can you provide value to this client now, instead of just showing up, pressing record, and making a cool video?
Yep.
Because now, if you hire a videographer, it's not just to do like show out and be a promo guy.
Yeah.
It's really to build your business and make more money.
Yep.
And how can you pay a videographer to do these things if you can't make more money from what you're putting your investment into?
For sure.
So
how would you, I know how I do it, how would you say that you balance being able to communicate with people and let them know that like your service is of value, when realistically a lot of people can record something on their phone? No, it might not be to the same level, but they can still get the job done, you know what I'm saying? So what in your opinion is the main thing that you would hire a videographer for, or a photographer, or whatever it might be, in order to elevate their content or their content experience, if you want to call it that?
Well, I say this, the biggest thing is what we have to do now is show what value we can provide. And I think that's the real key. Even if, you can provide value by just saying like, giving them, you'll have a content management system.
Yep.
That'll like show the flow of the content. Because now think about this. If you're a bad communicator, but you have a content management system that shows like where you are in your workflow of editing the content videos that you're doing, and your client can log in and see that, versus having to hound you every single day about where's my video at. And that's where like the business of all this comes in at, right?
For sure.
Now it's a business. It's not just you hiring somebody to do these promo videos. It's a business now.
For sure.
So if you run it, you have to run this you have to run this videography stuff as a business.
For sure.
It's not just videography anymore. So I would say you would hire a videographer to, one, again, provide value. And two, to bring that different, because we study these things. Right. We don't just look, we don't just scroll on Instagram and
show up one day and
out,
be
like
ready.
we study these trends. So if you have a client that's doing like physical fitness or training, and they want to get more clients, then you're gonna go do the studying for them, research the hashtags, all of that. That's providing value.
For sure.
Instead of them like saying, because then we also have, ways that we can post for them on social media. We do all the work. And that way you will get paid.
Exactly. And I think that's another thing to build off of that, is like, that's another way for you as a videographer, photographer. You can make more money by being able to do those things. Because a lot of people will do the bare minimum, where it's like, hey, you hired me to be a videographer to shoot this video. Like, don't ask me about what hashtags to use. Don't ask me what time to post. Don't ask me any of that type of stuff. And they just want to be that videographer or be the photographer who's there on set or in person, wherever it's at, and get the content, where I think, one, financially you can benefit from it, but then also relationships, and like more times than not, you'll have a recurring client or somebody who's willing to come back if you do offer more than just, hey, I'm here at the shoot, and then 2 days later, 3 days later, whatever the time frame is, here's your final product, hope y'all like it. You know what I'm saying?
And to piggyback off of that, the game now is to, if you're doing videography, it is to have these recurring clients.
For sure.
Because these one-off shoots is tough now. Like, of course you can go out there and make, $150 off of, someone wanting you to record them run or an event for an hour. $150 for an hour sounds good, but now with inflation, $150 gonna get you the gas and then a nice little
meal on the way back.
it ain't gonna get you more than that. Right. So you have to find a way to really monetize this business because, or else you're gonna be struggling, especially if you're doing this full time. For me, I can take a shoot for 150. Right. I won't, but I can take a shoot for 150 because I still have my full-time job. Right. But if I was doing this like real deal full-time and it was financially dependent upon that, I would have to boil down and get recurring clients. Right. And I would have to provide value and show them like, hey, look, this is my track record. This is who I've helped grow. Yep. And even if I ain't got that many followers, I didn't rant on this before. If I don't have that many followers, that doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just I don't really go deep into the social media realm myself. Yeah. So, but that's just to tell everybody out there, like, find a way, if you're in this business, find a way to monetize and provide a lot more value and keep those recurring clients, because that's how you're gonna make your money. For sure. Since you already brought it up, we'll build on that a little bit too, is the personal social media and how that can like elevate or bring up the amount of clientele that you're bringing in, the followers that you have, and just the opportunity and reach. That's something that I really had to take serious when I first moved to Houston in 2022, is like I had to make sure that people knew who I was on social media more than just photos, videos, and the content that I'm shooting for other people. I would say the main thing that I noticed and a big step in my career is when I started taking my personal media seriously, because one, it shows people like he does know how to grow an account. He does know how to manipulate the algorithm, whatever you want to call it, to see growth. But then at the same time, it's like, unfortunately, people will get on a photographer's account, and if they see what, 1,800, 1,900 compared to 13,000, for some reason, no matter what the work looks like, no matter what, if they see a higher follower count, they're gonna automatically assume that you're better, or you've been doing it longer, you know what to do, and like you know more. So what would you say, like, in terms of personal content, what would you say that you are right now in like prioritizing that and building your business? You know what I'm saying? So I'll tell you this. In terms of my personal content, it's all has been a timing thing, right? Having the time to actually do this, like film the content, figure out. And I think the biggest thing that'll stop anyone from doing it is being in their head about what content to release. And again, I'm drawing everything back to value, because that's what it is really all about. So for me personally, I haven't been releasing content lately because I've been using my actual network that I have of clients right now
in real life
to build and have word of mouth. Now, Instagram and social media in general is to get you a broader audience and more clients. For sure. But my way of thinking is, if I don't do this type of social media, like personal, I have to find a way to go harder in other areas to build that clientele.
No, that's real. I would say that's funny that you said that, because that's kind of exactly where I'm at right now. It's like, I did make a push. I made sure I hit 10K by the end of last year on social media, made sure that now it continues to grow and is elevating. But the more that I grow, the more that I realize, like, yeah, social media is cool. And a lot of times that's when I'll get the one-off clients. It's from social media, or people will DM me that they've seen I shot somebody else, whatever it might be. But a lot of the people who are the recurring clients and those people who are willing to pay like real money are those people that, one, I might have shot for via social media the first time, but now it's a real world connection. And I think that a lot of people get that, like, that line messed up, or whatever you want to call it, is like, you have to have real world value. And that was the main point of me starting my content. I wanted people to know who I was when I was coming to a shoot. Because I can get on a page, like I said, you'll see great photos, great videos, whatever it might be, perfect edits from other people's accounts. And if I don't know who's coming to the shoot, if I'm not comfortable with you as a person, a lot of people won't hire that. So there is value in making sure that you have real world connections, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the main thing that a lot of people, not the main thing, but something that a lot of people get confused about or caught up in, is like the social media numbers and 18 people DM me today and ask if I could shoot on this day, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool, but if you're not incorporating that or translating that into real interaction and real relationships, then it'll just be that one shoot. You know what I'm saying? Building from there, I think something that I want to touch on too was going back to our original point is like, where do you see value meeting a price negotiation?
Cool.
So you said we provide value outside of being a videographer, outside of being a photographer, outside of editing something for a client. Like now if I'm getting into the social media management part, does that elevate the cost of my service, or is the role that the new social media type of content creators that we are, is that supposed to be something that is incorporated in that?
Oh no, that definitely elevates.
For sure.
Like it multiplies it exponentially.
For sure. And I will say that we have a unique perspective because I am 25 with a 4-year-old and a fiance and a house, and you're 28 with a girlfriend, and you live in a nice apartment, and you take care of real life situations where I don't think that necessarily for everybody their situation would demand the same. You know what I'm saying? I will say that when I moved to Houston, that was something that drove me, was like, I have to provide for a real life. You know what I'm saying? I always said, like, if it was just me, bro, I could eat $1 McChickens or McDoubles every single day, go to the gym and be cool. You know what I'm saying? But when you're trying to build a life, and I think that most of us are, it's just like sometimes the lines get blurred. So for you, this is the last thing I'll touch on before we close up, is like, I think that a lot of people, the lines get blurred, and it's like, I want this opportunity more than I want the money. Where does that line, and obviously we all know it changes, and depending on the situation, it might be higher or lower. What does that look like for you? Or it's like, you're taking opportunity for the opportunity alone, and you're not worried about the money, you're not worried about what can come from it, or vice versa, you're worried about the money. It's like, this shoot is got to be paid. I'm not doing this if I don't want to, and if I don't, then I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? What does that line look like for you? And you don't even have to say like a dollar amount, but like where does the care come from? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is you have to use your better judgment.
Yeah.
In terms of like you said, what current situation are you in, and what you know you can provide.
For sure.
Because I'm not gonna waste my time doing a bunch of work when I'm getting paid this amount, because like I said, now
is there an opportunity there that you would though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
If the right opportunity presents itself, I would definitely hop on it. It depends on, like, you know, if the NFL called me today and was like, hey, we want you to come shoot some content for us, yeah, I'll go do it.
For free.
Cause I'm going, like, I'm in NRG right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
thanks.
It's like, you have to use your judgment on these opportunities. Like, for example, I've gotten DMs from people with, you know, 500K followers,
yeah, for sure.
you know, million or whatever.
Yep.
And they'll be like, hey, I'm looking for, I just got to Houston, I'm looking for a Houston-based videographer to collab with.
Yeah.
Right? You have to watch out for that type of language, because when they say collab, they want a free video.
Right.
We're not dumb.
Right.
They want a free video, and then they say, yeah, I'm gonna post you to my page for exposure. Like, that's not an opportunity that I want.
For sure.
Because I don't even know who your followers are. I don't know who you are.
And you just moved to Houston, so obviously your people not in Houston.
Exactly. And your content does not show the same thing. Yeah, I mean, those numbers are there, but again, I'll get way into social media management later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure.
You know, we can go through the followers, go through the likes, and see what's real and what's not.
Right.
Like, your shit all authentic.
For sure.
You know that.
Right.
You look at your page, that shit all authentic, because your numbers match up all the way down the line.
For sure.
Comments match up all the way down the line. No robots are commenting on your shit. Like, you know when this is happening. These are real people supporting you.
For sure.
So going back to that opportunity, the gap for opportunity and, you know, pay is really, I'll tie it in like this. The right opportunity will actually pay.
That is facts.
I'm gonna be honest with you, because, you know, I've gotten some clients where, you know, I had to follow up with them a lot, but they, you know, they high profile people, they're busy. So they even told me they appreciate the amount of times I follow up with them. You know, sometimes your ego get into, and come into play, and you be like, man, I ain't about to keep taking
Right, for
this
sure.
person.
I'm over it.
But once that opportunity opens the door, and then you hear the language of, hey, whatever your price is,
Just let me know.
just
Right.
I got you.
Yeah.
Send the invoice. And I've had people like pay that shit just like that.
Right.
And that's why
Quicker than the people who aren't trying to pay.
exactly
For sure, every single time.
And you have to be able to judge that, because you don't have to take every client.
Right.
That's one thing we fail to realize. Even if you're in need of money or struggling, like, you have to make that judgment call. Like, do I really want to have this? Do I really want to have this like pain and of trying to get this person this video on time and all that? Because when I first started, I was doing like $150 shoots.
Yep.
But the thing was, it didn't matter what I gave them. They wanted what they wanted.
Yep. Every single time.
Revisions. They wanted your quality.
Yep.
And guess what? You agreed to the 150, so you can't say nothing.
Exactly. Now you locked in.
You locked in. That's why, if you know your product is what it is, you should charge what you're worth.
Right.
So again, going back, I know I got off on tangents,
you good.
but that opportunity and that pay, they go hand in hand, because again, the right opportunity will get you paid somewhere down the line.
For sure.
Especially if it's just, you go out and do $1 million home in real estate.
Yep.
People like, oh, you shoot real estate. Because I started shooting real estate, and everybody was like,
I don't blame you.
oh, you shoot real estate. And I got a bunch of people hitting me up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't get discouraged, because I hit a lot of realtors up.
For sure.
And they don't respond back.
Yep.
But that's just the nature of this game. That's the nature of any business.
For sure.
So
I would say, building off of that, a lot of people, like, when it start off, it's assumed that photographers and videographers work for free. Whether you're just starting off or you're just meeting someone, I don't know why. This is like one of the only professions that people assume that if I'm meeting you for the first time, you're either going to give me a discounted rate or you're going to work for free. Especially if they have a higher stature than you, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they think of themselves as higher than where you currently are, they'll definitely think that. And I always compare it to, like, nobody's going to ask you to come work at HEB and push carts for the first day and be like, yeah, bro, if you come for this first day and work for free, we'll see if you do good enough, and then we might ask you to come back tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I think of it. And there's definitely times where, especially coming up, where I was working for free and taking opportunities because I knew what can come from them. But again, it goes back to what you were saying. It's like, not every single opportunity has to be for free. Not every single time where you go out to shoot and you're working with someone who might have a bigger following or might have a big name or might be well known. Like, you don't have to do things for free just because it's going to give you the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of people, and especially a lot of younger up and coming videographers, photographers, want those opportunities. So they just want to say yes at any drop of the dime. Where it's like, if you communicate that and you have some type of backbone, like, there's definitely money to be made. You know what I'm saying? And that's all stuff that I'm looking forward to getting into and talking to other creatives about too. And like, we both have our own unique path, but there's so many people who came up different ways or are still coming up that are making it happen and doing the free shoots and doing things for opportunities, which I personally will still do. Like you just said, if a big time promoter or a big time league calls and it's like, hey, we need you to come through, we can't pay you this time, but like, after this we can see what we're talking about, I'm definitely going. So that's not me to say like, or that's not me saying that I only work for paid opportunities, but also at the same time, like, as we help grow other creatives and like bring people up with us, we have to remind people, like, there's money out there to be made for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why people can do this full time, or why people are looking to add this on to the career that they're already doing. It's like, not just for the money, of course, but like, there's money out there to be made, and like, taking every single opportunity just because you want opportunity isn't always going to be the right answer. You know what I'm saying? Because
you pretty much already know where you are.
Exactly.
So if you know where you are, then you can either go above that or below it.
Exactly.
No one wants to go below that level.
No, I never.
You just always want to level up. So you already know if this opportunity, like, boxing, for example,
right.
I wouldn't say like, hey man, I got this amateur boxing, fights that I hold. That's cool.
Right.
But if I'm going to, like, hey, I got an opportunity for you to shoot Devin Haney and
right.
Ryan Garcia, I'm there.
Right, most definitely.
And I'm not. There's no, whatever you want to call it. There's no discrimination.
No,
none of
no
that.
disrespect.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I choose this because I know like once I start posting that, people gonna be like, it's the perception.
Yep.
People gonna be like, oh, he a real boxing photographer. Right. He a real boxing videographer.
He messed with the big dogs.
I could have done one shoot.
Exactly, literally one shoot.
But now I'm getting hit up from other like boxers that's up and coming. Say, hey, come shoot with me. You know what I'm saying? Those are opportunities that's gonna present itself.
Right. That would be worth it in that situation.
And you know how many times you need to shoot before you say, all right, look, I gotta start getting paid for this. But if I'm not getting paid for it in the opportunity, and when you really know a real opportunity when it's like you show up to shoot and you send them the results and they don't be like, hey, can you change this? Can you change that? Right? Because they know they didn't pay you.
Exactly.
It's just like content.
Taking what I can at this point.
Exactly. So that's the difference, because a lot of people who try to give you these opportunities, they want you to do the work. Right?
They want you to really get into it for real.
Exactly. But that's a paid service.
Exactly.
Not one of those things where I'm showing up giving you this high quality off the strength.
Right.
So that's,
and I will say there is time and place. Again, a lot of the stuff that we do, and like especially up and coming and still trying to make names for ourselves, is like there is a time and place where it's like, for this opportunity, I will put everything I got into the shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna really get it in. But being able to navigate and like figure out like, okay, maybe this time isn't worth everything that I got in the toolbox. Maybe it's only worth 30% of what I can really do. But to show them that like I'm willing to come for free, I'm willing to work, like maybe I'll just give them the 30%. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that like you're discrediting or doing less than to anybody's service, because especially when I was coming up, my main goal was to make every single video better. And I want that to like be understood as like, you have to know where you are in your career and where you are as a videographer and photographer. Is like, if you know that you still have to get a lot better, then you still have to put a lot of effort into every single project.
Exactly.
And as you get better and as you're starting to have those opportunities that are paid and whatnot, like from there you can kind of negotiate where it's like, okay, maybe I don't have to give them 100 pictures from this shoot. Maybe I can just give them like 15 because they'll know if they would have paid, maybe we could have got a lot more than that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And then another thing that I always talk about is like, you have to think about how much time goes into our editing process. So like you said earlier, you might get paid $150 to come shoot a running video, and you're getting paid $150 an hour until you go home. I always say my job start when everything is done. For example, we was in Miami with Gymshark. I shot 2 creatives who were working out all day, the first day, doing like the athlete day, and then 2 8-hour days of the event. And from there, they were done. They had the meet and greets, they had all their high energy stuff going on during the day. And once they got done is when my real job started. Now I have to bring everything that I just shot for the last 8, 9, 10 hours, because the event was 8 hours. We shot before and after. Now is everything that I just saw for the last 10 hours has to come to life in a creative format. And that took me another, maybe between photos, videos, same day uploads, all that type of stuff, maybe another 10 hours of content. You know what I'm saying? So again, you might be getting paid $150 for this hour shoot, but then when you get home and you're editing for an hour, a lot of times in the beginning, 2 hours, 3 hours. Now, if you really break down that 150, you're getting paid like $15, $20 an hour. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's something that I don't think a lot of people think about, is like, oh, I only have to be there for 2 hours. Like, I could charge whatever. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, no, realistically, you're working at least double that time to set up, get the right shots, make sure you're there on time, all that type of stuff, and then also edit all the content.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's a great spot to like end this first episode and like just give y'all a brief introduction to like what's going to be going on, the type of conversations that we'll be having with other creatives, and then also ourselves as we keep progressing through this journey. But the last thing I want to close on, and I'll pull it up real quick, is just what are some of the current goals for you as a creative, and then what are other things that you're doing outside of your creative life, and how do you balance that?
I think my current goal right now is to streamline the process. That's the biggest thing I've been struggling with, because right now I do have a full-time job. So it's kind of hard to balance, the work between work and client work. Because then when I get off work, I have to come start editing.
Working again.
And I want to, I want to kind of free up time to start like working out, getting more into that. And I do that, But by the time I'm done working out, you know, I'm gassed. You know, it's like the end of the night is here, and I got to start editing.
Right.
So I think the biggest thing, the goal right now is to streamline the process, meaning like, you know, hire a team of editors, get some videographers on the team, start shooting, and kind of like just build a not only a business, but build like a whole community.
For sure.
So once you streamline it, you can send whoever here, send whoever there, and it's just, you know, at that point you ain't chilling,
right?
But you got a lot more time freed up to do things that you're more passionate about.
For sure.
So I think those two things are tying in together, where if I streamline, I can do more things that I'm passionate about.
Yep, and do things outside of that and have that balance. That's
exactly.
the main thing. And I would say for me personally, let me read the question again. My current goals as a creative would be obviously one, build this Capture Craft podcast. This is something that basically I do on my Instagram with the talking head videos and stuff like that, but like being able to sit down and have a real conversation with other creatives and just kind of branch off on the points that I'm already touching on my social media will allow people to connect with me and us and just anybody who gets on this podcast to that next level. You know what I'm saying? To realize that, yes, we are creatives, yes, we're a videographer, photographer, whatever it might be, but like we also do stuff outside of press record and press edit. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I'm really looking forward to, is the conception of this podcast and now continuing to build on this now that we've started. Outside of that, as a creative, I'm trying to shoot my first NFL game this year and really just take that next step into like sports. I don't want to start in high school sports. Collegiate or pro is like where I'm really trying to get to, and I think this year will allow me to do that if I play the cards right. And play the opportunities.
And we did talk about that. That's a common goal of ours, like to really get into sports documentaries.
Yep, exactly. And that's my long-term goal, is sports documentaries, 30 for 30, Last Chance U, ESPNU style videos where it's like, but I want to do the part where it's film, edit, produce. Like, I want to do everything. I know that's going to be a huge task, and like as the time comes, I might not want to do that no more, but right now as a creative, that's my goal. Things I'm doing outside of that, like I said, I have a 4-year-old son, I have a fiance, so just balancing that aspect of my life with having a family takes a lot of time and energy and effort, which is super dope, and I'm appreciative of it because I know it keeps me grounded and keeps me like in the everyday stuff that's going on, rather than just getting caught up in the creative and business and work side stuff, because that's the type of person I am. Like, if I really am passionate about something, I really enjoy something, like I could spend 24 hours a day only thinking about photography, videography, and how can I get better? How can I start getting more clients? How can I get higher paying clients? All that type of stuff. But like being able to go home and sit down with people who don't care about that, who just want your time and just want your energy, allows me to have that disconnect. You know what I'm saying? So that would be the main thing, is like balancing life with my full-time job. You know what I'm saying? And it is kind of hard because with the social media stuff, I'm kind of always working. This is like forever in my hand, and it's like, it might just look like I'm doing nothing, but realistically, like everything on social media is networking for us. You know what I'm saying?
That's a tough thought.
It is.
It's like we have to, even though if you don't want it, you have to have it.
Yeah, you have to.
You know.
And so I mean that's pretty much me and like where my goals are right now. I'm definitely looking forward to continuing this and having guests on that will elevate it, and then be able to tell their story and tell about the things that they have going on and their creative journey as well. You know what I'm saying? Anything you want to close out with? Anything that you're looking forward to in the podcast? Any like main things that you're looking forward to right now in the next 2-3 months of your creative journey?
Man, I mean, NBA season's wrapping up. Yep. But I gotta go NBA. I know you said NFL, but I gotta go NBA. I love this basketball, man. But I think for the most part, again, it's good that we're coming together to do this entire project.
For sure.
And once we bring more creatives on, this thing is gonna grow.
Right.
So y'all need to hold us accountable.
For sure.
Because we gonna keep this going. But I think this is a great start as to where we are. And then two, our goals are gonna expand as this grows.
For sure, most definitely.
But the biggest thing right now is we just had to start this.
Had to start.
So I think this is a good start. Other goals is just, really trying to get myself into a full-time aspect of videography
For sure.
and photography. So that's the overall goal.
I got you.
But as of right now, you know, just trying to balance the two, you know.
I feel that.
It's just, it is what it is, but at this point, like, it's time.
Yeah.
It's like, it ain't no better time than now.
Exactly, bro.
So-
That's facts. So that is it for the first episode of the Capture Craft podcast. I appreciate you guys tuning in. That's your host, Izzy and Jared. We'll see you guys in the next one.